Kelly Clarkson, Since You've Been Gone. It's Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. I certainly am. Another reason to let it go. Again, this just keeps coming up and kind of a different angle to look at it. Hopefully it makes a difference. But, when you think about like cooking something, right? You spend a little bit of time and effort. You get all the ingredients together. You put some prep into it. You get them involved, usually a little bit of heat for a period of time so all those flavors can start to come together. Maybe you marinate it for a period of time again to allow those flavors to kind of percolate, and then you cook it. And then through the cooking process, oftentimes that can take a little bit longer, and if there's meat involved, certainly tenderizing will occur through that process. But at the very end, you kind of come out with this wonderful, delicious, tasty meal. And so again, through that process, a lot of things kind of happen and come together, sort of making for a perfect meal. Maybe when you're building a house, right? One of the very first, most important things, obviously, is to lay a foundation, right? Foundation is everything, is key. You've got to have a strong foundation. And then once you've got that, you can build upon it, right? You start putting up the frame, you start putting on a roof, you start running wires and plumbing and all those different kinds of things. Eventually, you lay some floors, some carpeting, furniture, the whole 9 yards, and then you move into your home. So again, a process through all things kind of starts with something very basic, very fundamental, and through a wonderful process, things begin to kind of take shape and take form. Again, with traveling, same kind of concept, right? We book the cruise or book the trip. We have all these kind of pre-things that we do before we get going, but then you've got this kind of travel, right? You've got the part where you're sort of going to your destination. And then from there, generally, right, don't we just kind of travel around and do a bunch of stuff typically when we're vacationing? But it's not so much the going there, then coming back. That's the whole round trip. That's the journey. It's all the little stops along the way that made all the difference in the world, right? It made everything kind of come together. Getting our health back when you've been kind of sick, kind of like where I've been, and I've come a long ways, by the way. So I'm feeling a lot better. Still a little bit going on, but it's pretty good. But again, the whole process of getting your health back, it's not instant, right? It doesn't just happen immediately. It does take a little while. The body's got to create antibodies, and once that happens, it is now able to, whenever that particular sickness comes into it, it knows how to deal with it, and it instantly starts to fight back and make it go away. So this whole process makes you essentially immune to that strain of bug or whatever it was that you've kind of are getting over. So again, the process is creating outcomes that make us kind of better, stronger, and more capable of living life and staying alive and staying healthy. And of course, one of the better examples that so many I've brought up before, but certainly it's just a great example, is kids. Right? Because ultimately, you want to see your kids grow up, but you don't just pop them right out of the womb and then have them walk out of the room and walk back in at age 18. You want to be there through all those things. You want to be there through them taking their training wheels off, their first steps, their first crawl, their first smile, their first song, their first, base hit, their first goal, whatever their all the way through their first band practice, their first annoying concert that they're going to have where just everyone's horrible. All these different wonderful things that they're going to go through to eventually become, their first date, their first prom, the pictures, the boutonnieres and the corsages and all the stuff that goes into it. Think about the wonderful joy that goes into that entire process. Relationships are the same way. We've told the universe, here's what I'd like to have, regardless if it's finding love, if it's finding a specific love, if it's finding a specific person for sure, if it's getting back together with someone. All these things are the same basic concept. And there's a journey through this process, much like building the house. It's the foundation that matters. And the foundation for many of us was this law of attraction work or the Neville Goddard work or the understanding, doing the basics, right? The green lights, getting that someone to find a little bit of money, someone to give you a bottle of water, the beach ball, whatever your parking places, whatever your easy fun ones were. That's what got you your foundation. That's what got you to the place where you're like, all right, I'm sure there's something to this. And then you go for the big one. You're building the house now. Foundation's laid, right? Now you're going to start laying up the frame of the house. Now you start doing your imaginal work. And you're seeing you guys being together. It's all coming together. It's a process that will happen. And when a lot of us, many of us maybe aren't exactly home builders, so maybe we don't know every single step of the way. So sometimes you've got to let the plumber come in and do what they know how to do, and the electrician come in and do what they know how to do. And sometimes you got to get the people that do drywall and have them come in and do what they do, and the people that put the ceilings on, right? And maybe lay the insulation, and maybe you've got to wire it for cable and phone and all these internet and all these different things. So again, you bring in the right people and let them do their thing. You let it come together. And then you open up the doors and boom, there's your beautiful home. There's your beautiful relationship. So give it time, allow it to unfold. It is such a beautiful process. And in that process is blooming this amazing, delicious dinner from the oven, right? Or this amazing, excuse me, giving it a chance to kind of grow and develop into what it truly is. Hopefully this makes a difference. Hopefully this kind of helps just remind us to be a little patient, to let go, to let this process unfold. It's going to happen. It is happening. But a lot of the times when we're so worried about opening the oven constantly to go, is it ready yet? And even though you know it's not, it's got 45 minutes to go. You know it has 45 minutes to go. But every time you open up the oven, you let some of that heat out, right? And we're letting that heat out. We're slowing our momentum. The reason we're looking is because we don't trust. The foundation's important. Make sure that was laid. And the trust needs to kind of sort of be there. Leave the oven closed. Give it a little bit of time. Let things unfold. You will see the signs. You will see indications. That will be to let you know, hey, I'm on the way. You're not going to get any sort of guarantees. There's no specifics. There's no absolute certainties. But there's a process. There's definite indications along the way. And then there's results that a lot of people have attested to. And you as well with smaller things, right? So again, all these things are coming together. Give it time. Let it percolate. Let all these flavors come together to make this amazing, delicious relationship happen. Hopefully this makes a difference. Going out with a great song. It's actually a good song, but I couldn't resist the name of the band. It's Hoobastank, right? Because, of course, that's what I think of when I think of The Reason. I think Hoobastank. It's Dan Radio Style.